Happy Thursday, everyone. We got a fun little rounder for you guys today. It's quick-ish, but it's a good time. So before we get to that, let's talk about our warm-up. Our warm-up is going to consist of a quad plank of 3 to 10 seconds, scap push-up for 5 to 10 from a plank or a table, prone shoulder raise of 6 to 10 alternating reps, and then a laying arm extension for 5 to 10. 1 to 2 rounds through that. You're going to get a nice little work set in there for the shoulders, get the core fired up, just get some internal heat going a little bit. Then we're going to work on some dumbbell or barbell skill work depending on what you're going to use in your workout and what you have access to at home. We have a pause dip for 3 at a 3 second hold, into a push press for 1 to 3, overhead pause dip for 3 at 3 seconds, and then we're going to practice our push jerk for 1 to 3 reps, finishing off with a curtsy lunge of 6 to 10 alternating, and then a squat thrust of 20 seconds of dynamic work in a step back focus. So we're going to work on that step back, step up, nice and tall. Just get a steady state pace going with those squat thrusts to get used to going up and down and get that body moving a little bit more. You're going to take that down, kind of figuring out some working weight, where you're going to live in the push press or the jerk, and then we're going to turn you loose on this workout. Now this workout has a few things that we need to kind of focus in on and practice a little bit. So we have 7 rounds, so it goes pretty quick. We have 6 push jerk or push presses, so one of the two, not both or a mixture. Just pick one, work it hard for 6. You're going to put the dumbbells or the barbell down. You're going to do 9 burpees or squat thrusts. Then you're going to pick the dumbbells back up or the barbell back up, and you're going to do a 12 set of alternating front rack lunges. So you'll hold the bar dumbbells in the front rack. You will lunge for 12, and then you have the choice. Do I go right back into my push jerk and push press, or do I put the bar down and rest a bit? So that's kind of a little choice we get to make in terms of where we want to go with this workout. The loading in this workout should be light enough that you might consider going into the next set of push jerk or push presses, but it's a gut check. You gotta be like, okay, I gotta really make sure I can dig deep and get those reps in. But again, we don't want to go so heavy that we have to put the bar down. It's a pretty smooth, flowy work set, and that fatigue factor is going to be the deciding factor of whether or not you want to go into that next round of push jerks or put the bar down, shake out, and then start the round fresh. So there's some decisions to be made in this one, so I hope you have some fun with that and experiment and play a little bit with this. To get us ready, let's pause this video, let's gather some stuff together, let's get ourselves ready. We're going to warm you up and get you ready to have some fun. All right, let's get our feet under those hips. We're going to take those arms big and tall up overhead. We're going to stretch it to one side, and we're going to come back through and stretch it to the other side. Big old reach, and then we're going to take it all the way down to the floor. We're going to touch those toes. We're going to walk up the shins, nice flat back. We'll come down to frame a foot. We'll step back into our lizard, nice and square. Inside hand's going to reach to the ceiling. We're going to bend at the elbow. We're going to reach straight ahead. And we're going to pull back. We're going to reach straight ahead and pull back and straight ahead and pull back. We'll reach up. We'll rotate. Forearm to the floor. Come back up. And then plant that hand. Step back into our down dog. Just settling into this down dog position. We'll come back through into our plank. And then back up into our down dog. And one more time into our plank as we step that foot up. Nice and steady in that body position. Inside hand's going to reach to the ceiling. We'll bend the elbow. We're going to reach straight ahead. We're going to pull back. Straight ahead. Pull back. Straight ahead. And pull back. We reach up. Rotate. And then come back up to the sky. Plant the hand. We'll step it back into our down dog. Reach into those hips. We'll walk our heels back and forth. Nice and easy. Come back into our plank. Tiptoe those feet up. I'm going to roll ourselves all the way up. Big stretch. We'll reach to one side. We'll reach to the other side. We'll come down with the hands. Let's get her going. Now, if you have any extra movement to take down, some band work, some hip work, ankle, please do so right now. Get yourself ready to go. We're going to start off with that upper body kind of core piece to get you guys fired up and ready for action. All right, we're going to start off with a little bit of quad plank work. And we're going to work on 3 individual reps with 10-second holds. So they give you a little bit of break in between these things. So our hands are going to be under the shoulders. We're going to get set up in that tabletop. So the knees, there's some space. My toes are curled under. I'm going to pull the ribs in a bit and push the floor away a bit, but I'm not trying to round out into my cat back. So it's just a little protraction, a little pull. I'm going to lift my knees up as I pull my arms and feet together, trying to create some tension inwards and find that nice solid position. I'm breathing into my midsection, so I'm trying to breathe outwards into that midsection as I hold that tension in that position in the quad plank. Now I'm going to hold that for 10 seconds, and I'm going to lower back down. I'm going to give myself a little bit of a break. If you'd like to add in a cat-cow curl before moving into that next rep, you can. It's a nice little break, nice little chance to stretch things out, move the body around, and then move into that next quad plank for 10 seconds. If you can't hold that quad plank for 10, accumulate 10 seconds in 2 small doses of 5, and continue on from there. After that, we move into our scap push-up. So it's a movement we can do right from the table or the plank. I find for most people, the table is quite enough in terms of focusing on the scapula. So we're going to get set up like we're going to do a quad plank, and then we're going to pull the shoulders together as we pull our body towards the floor. My arms are going to stay straight, and I'm going to push my body away from the floor. I pull my body towards, keeping my core tight, press away. So it's a very subtle motion with the shoulders as we keep our core nice and engaged throughout the process. Hi. After those scap push-ups, we're going to lay on our stomach, and we're going to work on our prone shoulder raise. So we're going to get ourselves laying down, toes together, pressing down to the floor, pull the ribs in a bit. We're going to press the armpits down and press the hands down. We're going to lift an arm up, and we're going to keep that armpit facing towards the floor. We're going to press that arm back down, lift the other arm up, and then work on back and forth, alternating that position with our primary focus of keeping those ribs in and keeping that hollow position in. So keeping this in mind as we go through this, we don't want to worry about how high we get the arm. We want to worry about keeping things in and lifting the arm to our specific height. After this, we're going to move into a very similar movement, but our hands are going to come down the side. Again, our focus should be pulling the ribs in, shoulders staying back, and then pressing the hands up, and then lowering down. So working on, not worrying about the height of the arm, but working on maintaining that core position throughout the entire process. So making sure we're not going and breaking through the midsection. So you can load this one if you'd like. You can work on a little bit of light loading, but it's not heavy. It should be at the very most like 2 pounds, can of soup, who knows. But just something to give you a little resistance if you want. Now as a quick recap, we have a quad plank, 3 reps at 10 seconds, scap push-up for 5 to 10, plank or tabletop. For the most part, I find most people are fine in the tabletop, especially in our warm-up phase of our work set. But if you can maintain a good plank position, please be my guest. Prone shoulder raise, 6 to 10 alternating, and then laying arm extension of 5 to 10. We're going to take down a 1 to 2 round set of that to get things fired up, and then we're going to start tossing around with barbell or dumbbells. Our next phase of work is going to be a dumbbell or barbell complex, and we're going to go through kind of each phase of this work set, building in our push press, building in our jerk. So we're going to practice the jerk today. Now what we have to start off with here is the base of both movements. So we're going to clean the dumbbell or barbells up to the shoulder and our front round. Our ribs are in, our feet are flat, toes slightly turned out, and what we're going to do is work a pause dip. So we're going to take our hips straight down, keeping our shoulders stacked over top of our hip. Our feet are flat and our knees track our toes. And then we'll stand by straightening out the legs. We'll take it down, nice flat feet, nice and tight, stand and push through the legs. Once we're done 3 of those at 3 seconds, we're going to work a push press. So using the same dip, no pause, we get a dip, big drive, and then we pull the dumbbell back down. We're going to work on 1 to 3 reps of that. So again, dip, big drive with the legs, and overhead. Once we've done our last push press, we're going to keep the overhead position. Ribs are in, and we're going to work on a pause dip here as well. Hand, shoulder, hip, all in alignment. Feet are flat. Stand tall. You may not get as deep in this dip as your first dip because of the overhead position, and that's okay. want to listen to our body. We want to focus on those key points of performance. That good stacked arm over the shoulder, over the hip, feet are flat, knees track the toes. So good dip position. Our last movement here is practice of the push jerk, and that's basically the similar movement as a push press, except we're going to land in that receiving position, in that little dip. So what we're going to do is we're going to clean the dumbbell or barbell up. We're going to get set with that nice solid position to the ribs. We are going to dip and drive and push ourselves down into the bottom of that dip, standing tall. Coming back through, dip and drive, down underneath that dumbbell, and stand. In another sense, if you just think, jump, land in that little power position, come back down. Jump, land in that little power position, and down. Whichever works for you at this time. We want to make sure we're giving ourselves that quick little feedback cue that allows us to move well and not bog down our mind in terms of our movement set. So if that dip drive works for you, awesome. If jump works, do that. All right? Play with these different words, these different phrases to get you to get in the right position. Now a dumbbell push jerk is very awkward, so just be prepared for that. It's a little bit more unstable, so you might have to really focus on that drive through the arms the entire time. Even though we have a bar, if we're using a bar, we still want to think about driving through those arms so we're stable in that overhead position. Once we're done that sequence, we're going to move on to a curtsy lunge. So we're going to stand up nice and tall with no load. We're going to take one foot, we're going to step back and down, and then we're going to come back up to standing. Come back through on the angle, and down, and come back up to standing. So we're working on hitting those same points of performance in our lunge, except on an angle. So I'm stepping back, lowering down. So if I just pivot, I'm in the bottom of a normal lunge. My knee is under my hip, under my shoulder. My front knee is underneath of my heel. And I'm going to allow myself to work on that nice lunge in a slightly different angle and plane. So play with that curtsy lunge. Have some fun with it. Remember, we're stepping on the angle and then lowering down into that good position, keeping that knee stacked, that toe pointing straight ahead. That's going to be a really nice chance to warm ourselves up. If you want to load that in a goblet as well, you can. It's going to give you a good chance to warm those legs up for the lunges to come in our workout. After the curtsy lunge, what we have for you guys is a squat thrust set of 20 seconds. You're going to come down with the hands, grip the floor, step into your plank, step your feet back up, stand tall. You're going to work on hitting that good plank in 20 seconds, as many repetitions as you can, but just working on getting a good flow, hitting that good shoulder position, and that good core position for our burpees later on. So it's a nice chance to move well and move smoothly. As a quick recap, we have our dumbbell or barbell complex, pause dip for 3 at 3 seconds. We have our push press for 1 to 3 reps, overhead pause dip for 3 at 3 seconds, and then a push jerk 1 to 3 with that either dumbbell or barbell. Into our curtsy lunge of 6 to 10 alternating reps and a squat thrust of 20 seconds just to move smoothly and steadily in and out of that plank. Pause the video, rock it, come back to me. We're going to talk about our work set and get ourselves ready to go. All right, you guys, we've made it to the workout. Now what I'm going to get you guys to play with is a couple practice rounds to get this flow. Maybe work on that front rack into the jerk for a couple just to make sure you're comfortable with that transition at the end of the round. Maybe don't do 6, 9, 12. Maybe do 3, 3, 3 for a couple rounds just to see how that flow is going to feel and to finalize your working weight. We've already talked about our push jerk and push press quite heavily in our previous warm-up, so scroll back, check that out if you need any points of performance there. But then we have our burpee. We did some squat thrusts in our previous warm-up. We're going to talk about a few key points of the burpee and the squat thrust for our work set. Now the full burpee, we come down, I lower myself to the floor, pop up, and then repeat. I can also come down, step, and lower, and step back up with that full press in that push-up. Now a couple things to keep in mind for our burpee. We want to make sure that as we come down, we're hitting that tripod. My elbow is stacked over top of my wrist. My core stays nice and tight, and I'm nice and active through that entire lower and press. From there as well, we're trying to jump our feet or step our feet into a flat foot position to help protect our ankles and our knees. After that, we have our squat thrust, which we worked on in the step back portion. We're gonna plant our hands, jump back into our plank, hop back in, finish with the jump, or step back, step in, and finish, or any combination of those two things. Now with the squat thrust, we are looking again to keep the hands stacked under the shoulder, our upper body nice and stable and tight, so our lower body can be the dynamic piece in this work set. Our goal, hitting a good plank, popping back in again with flat foot position to help those ankles, knees, and hips out a little bit, not jam ourselves up. Last but not least, we have a front rack lunge, or a lunge. So again, if you're lunging as hard enough as it is, a normal lunge will do the job without any loading. But if you are comfortable enough with that, we can load the lunge with the same weight that we're gonna push, press, or jerk. So what we're looking at here, again, cleaning the dumbbells up or barbell up in the front rack position, maintaining that front rack as we step forward, lowering our body down. So our knee is over our heel, back knee is under our hip, under our shoulder. And with that front rack position, we're very much so needing to be vertical and upright so we can maintain that position. And then we're gonna alternate back and forth. Now that front rack gets quite taxed. So that is probably what you're gonna be gearing your weight to in today's workout if you're planning on doing a front rack lunge. So gear it to your weaker link in terms of the two loaded movements, but for most of us, it's probably gonna be that lunge that we're gonna have to gear the weight to. This is a really cool work set for flow, really good mental challenge to try and push through those next rounds and move into the next one, into those push, press, or jerk. So I hope you guys have fun with this challenge. I hope you have fun with this flow. Hardest part that I found when I did this workout was remembering what round I was on because I kept trying to move into the next round. So counting can be an issue. Maybe make a tally mark and just mark it off when we get to your burpees every time if you're moving into the push jerk, and that can help you out quite a bit. Now, as always, work for quality, have a ton of fun, load yourself well, or again, pick and choose where you're gonna load in this workout and have a great time with this one. It's a fun workout, and it's a gasser. Have a great day today, you guys. We'll see you tomorrow for some more fun programming. Bye, guys.